Hi, I'm Leah Steele. I'm the Economic Development Coordinator for the City of Laurel, and I want to welcome you to the second workshop in our free summer workshop series sponsored by the Department of Economic and Community Development. Tonight's workshop is Quickbooks Online. It's going to be presented by Shuri Wallace from the Savvy Admin. Thank you, Ms. Wallace, so much for presenting tonight. A few notes before I start. We have one other workshop in this series, which will be next week on Thursday, August 16th. That workshop is titled Planning to Succeed, and it's presented by Dr. Dwayne Buckingham. There's flyers in the back of the room for all the other events, and then you can also find more information on our Facebook page at Laurel ECD. So please hold all your questions for the presentation until the end of the presentation. We're going to have a Q&A session, and then there will be a microphone right there at the back of the room. So when you do have questions at the end, just go back there and ask your questions. So we'll be able to hear it during the recording, because this workshop is being recorded, and you'll be able to view it on Laurel TV's YouTube channel after tonight. So thank you so much for coming out tonight, and we will now get started. Here is your presenter, Ms. Shuri Wallace.
Thank you very much, Leah. And I'm very excited to be presenting a summer workshop for Quickbooks Online. So a quick overview of what we're going to talk about this evening. It's the difference between bookkeepers and accountants. I like to start off with that because not a lot of people know the difference between them. The big question about your business and finance, product selection, when to seek professional help, and tools that help automate your business. So first off, we'll start about the functions of a bookkeeper. So bookkeeping consists of recording the day-to-day transactions in your business. It's a process of collecting financial information used to prepare financial statements and provide analytics for your business. So if you are the owner of your business, then you're going to be the bookkeeper. You're going to be the one focusing on gathering the information for your sales, for purchases that you make in your business, expenses that you have in your business, checks, deposits, any loans that you may get to further your business, and reconciling all of that from your bank statement. The function of an accountant is going to be to use the data that you enter into your bookkeeping system to advise and interpret a company's financial standing for people in the business and for companies outside of the business. So they're going to analyze everything you say, your income that you say is coming in, the expenses that you have. They're going to run checks and balances on the accounts that you have to make sure things balance out. They're going to do your tax returns, and accountants are responsible for your income statements and your balance sheets. So at the end of the year, when you're doing a profit and loss or you're doing a balance sheet, your accountant is going to go over that with you. That's their role. They're there to help you. They're there to guide you in the best direction for your business. And they're also going to do some forecasting. They're going to let you know what opportunities you have next year, what you can take advantage of, tax savings that you might be able to take advantage of. That's the function of an accountant. And so the big question, the question that we're here to ask. So you're a small business or a business that knows that you need to focus on your finances right now, and you're asking around, what do I need to do to focus on my finances? What do I need to get? And you're talking to other business owners, and they say, you need QuickBooks. That's all they say. They say, you need QuickBooks. So that brings three other bigger questions before you get into QuickBooks. QuickBooks, in my opinion, is the end game. You need to know three questions. What is it? Why do you need it? And how it's going to help you in your business. So, what is QuickBooks Online? QuickBooks Online is cloud accounting software for businesses. On the basic level, it's technology that's going to make you more efficient, more accurate, and give your business a level of professionalism that is the standard nowadays. On a broader scope, QuickBooks is the tool that you're going to use to pull in all of your financial data. And some of the questions, it's a tool you're going to use to pull in all of your financial data. And so the next question is, why would you need it? And a savvy business owner is going to answer that question with another question, which is, what do you need to know about your business? So a lot of the questions that you need to know about your business every day are, for example, what is my income this month versus last month? You have to know what you're bringing in. Your income is like the lifeblood of your business, so that is the most important. Another question, where am I spending my money in my business? You want to know what expenses you have going out so that you are making sure you're generating enough income to cover those expenses and also pay yourself. How much am I owed and by whom? That's going to be very important for our service businesses, catering business, even a rental business. You need to know who has money that they owe you and when they're going to pay, which leads to the next question. You have customers that pay late, you have customers that don't pay on time, and QuickBooks is going to be a great way for you to manage all of this. On the flip side, also, QuickBooks is going to be able to tell you your sales goals for this year, next year, what your goals were in the past, and how you met those goals or didn't meet those goals. You'll be able to know if you need to switch suppliers because of a cost, if you need to make changes to some of your providers based on the numbers. And that's mostly what QuickBooks does, is based on the numbers. Another question is, how many sales and clients do I need to double revenue this year? So if we're in business, we want to make money, we want to make more money, we need to identify the things that are going to help us. And if it's getting customers, then we need to figure out how we can double that, and QuickBooks can help with that as well. And another thing that kind of gets lost that QuickBooks can help you with are the small costs. So we're talking credit card transactions, banking fees. There are small costs that you don't see every day, but they're there. And at the end of the year, it can be a pretty big chunk of money. So QuickBooks allows you to track that day by day so that you can see if you may need to change credit card providers, or if you need to move to a different bank, or it gives you the information to make that decision. Now I need to move. Now I'm big enough and I need to, go to a different program. So what your finances will also tell you about your business is how you run your day-to-day operations. So QuickBooks is a rolling software where it's pulling in the data from different sources every day. So every day you get to see how much you made, how much you spent, and what your business outcome looks like. Forecasting, projections, and meeting obligations. So QuickBooks is really great for putting in information about loans that you may have to take out, and being able to keep that information of how you're paying it back, making sure you're paying it back on time. Other obligations could be payroll. So you need to keep track of the payroll, know how much you need to spend, or know how much you're going to spend that month, and be able to know those costs so you can cover them. And the most important thing about business is you want to know your numbers. So good bookkeeping can help you meet or exceed your business growth. It builds history so that when the time comes and people are asking you about your business, when loan officers want to know what's going on, you can give them that information very quickly. It's very accurate. And I'll explain more about the accuracy in a moment. And the reporting is excellent, as far as being able to send what people are going to be asking you for right away, your receivables, your payables, for you to know exactly who owes you and how much and when it's coming. Is going to be great. So now we're to the last question, is how will it help me? And before I get to how it's going to help, I wanted to plug in QuickBooks is a double entry accounting system. So what that means is what happens on one side of your journal ledger needs to happen on the other side. And there are a lot of other different accounting softwares that don't do that. So for example, if you are a contractor, you may find a different software that may cost a little less and you want to use that instead. But if that program is only going to log your income and your expenses and nothing else, that's not what you need. You need a full program that's going to, what's a good example? Like I was talking about before, the loans. You have to know that there's a liability out there for credit cards. You have to know that there's a liability out there that you are obligated to pay, and you want to know how much that is, and you want to know, what the monthly cost is. And some of those other programs don't give that to you. So I just wanted to make sure everyone saw that double entry accounting is what you need for business. So why do you need it? Or how will it help me? So QuickBooks is awesome with streamlining financial operations. What does that mean? It means that QuickBooks Online is a tool where you can pull in your financial data. So in the past, if you don't have any kind of bookkeeping software, you were using an Excel spreadsheet, or you were just winging it, writing down what your expenses were for that month, and there wasn't a real check and balance when people do it that way. So what QuickBooks does, which I think is awesome, is it pulls in the information. So let's start with the difference between QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online. So QuickBooks Desktop is a very good tool, and the online version, I think, just takes it up a notch. QuickBooks Online, the information is on one computer. I think that's kind of a con. You have one set computer that can open your QuickBooks file, and you can work in it. Now, if you're at home and your computer's at work, creates a challenge, or vice versa. What they do well is you can access QuickBooks Desktop even when you don't have online access. So the power goes out for whatever reason, you don't have internet, you can still get into your QuickBooks Desktop. Other things that QuickBooks Desktop does is they import bank transactions and credit card transactions. It's more involved than QuickBooks Online, and I'll share more about that. And you can share files with the QuickBooks Desktop, where you work in your file, you may send it to your accountant, they work in it, and then they send it back to you. And what happens in that transaction is, while somebody else has your file, you can't do anything with it, and vice versa. It causes a little bit of a hiccup depending on what you need done and how long someone else has your file. And what's great about QuickBooks Desktop is that they have reporting and customization that exceeds QuickBooks Online right now. But QuickBooks Online is still in, I think, its baby phase. They're still adding to the program, having it do more, adding more reports to it to make it better for everyone. And so we're here to talk about QuickBooks Online. So what QuickBooks Online does excellent is, like I said, it pulls in your bank information. So you are getting everything that you do every day the very next day. All your income, all your expenses, all your receivables, all your payables, all your they're inside QuickBooks Online the very next day, and it comes straight from your bank account. You can access it online 24/7. It doesn't matter if you're on vacation. It doesn't matter if you're out of the country. As long as you're in front of a computer, you can log in and your information is there and it's safe. It also has a mobile app, which I find really helpful just to look up things that are in my QuickBooks Online and not having a full computer there. Like I said, you can link your bank account, link your credit cards to it. That's great as well. And then you can connect people to it. So like I was explaining before, where you used to have to, you had this file and you would have to take it to your accountant, and then the accountant would have to give it back to you. And so now you can just give your accountant access. You can give your bookkeeper access. And that way, when an issue arises, if they have to look at something, they can go directly to their own computer wherever they are, and they can look at it, they can fix it, and it doubles the production time. So now you're like, okay, QuickBooks is good. I want to get it. Where do I start? Where you're going to start is when you go to QuickBooks Online, it's going to give you 3 options. Now, there is another option I want to let you know about. It's called Freelance, QuickBooks Online Freelancer. And that they made for people that are just looking at income and expenses. It doesn't have anything about liabilities. It's not going to track the things that you owe in your business. It's going to just track what's coming in and what's going out. So these are your 3 best options when you're looking at QuickBooks Online. So start with the Simple Start. So in Simple Start, you can do your invoices, you can do your expenses, and it has basic reporting. So if you're just starting your business, if you're just starting out at catering, then that might be pretty much all you need. The only thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't manage bills. So when I say managing bills. So when I say managing bills, I mean any vendor that sends you an invoice and you have 30 days to pay, you have 15 days to pay, you want to put that into your accounting system so that you know what's coming up. And so the Simple Start does not manage bills for you. If you need bill management, you're going to go to Essentials. So in Essentials, it manages your bills, and that's the one that has multiple users where you can invite your accountant, invite your bookkeeper to come in and help and or do some analytics for you. What Essentials doesn't have is job tracking. What is job tracking? Job tracking is any industry, for example, contractors, event coordinators. When your income is based off of jobs that are coming in, so you do a job for John Doe, and if it's a painting job, you're buying paint for him, you have labor for that job. And in QuickBooks, you can assign costs to that job so that you know how much you're making on every job that you do. And that's very important to a lot of industries. So if you need the job tracking, then you're going to go to QuickBooks Online Plus, which has everything I just talked about, including inventory, which may be important for event planners. Other industries that inventory is important for, if you have a store that you need to track the inventory, if you have, doesn't matter what you sell, flowers, candles, you're making things to sell and you're making them and you're holding them on the shelf. You want to make sure you don't make too much of one thing. You want to see what is selling of all the different categories that you're making. Inventory is great for that. And Plus also will help you track your 1099 employees. So in business today, you may not start out with a full-time employee. You may have a part-time person. You may have a a freelancer that helps you with your website, that doesn't come into the office. They work on their own time. They're a 1099 employee. And you as the business owner has to keep track of how much you're paying them. Because at the end of the year, your accountant's going to want to know over a certain threshold, I think it's $500 or $600, how much you paid your 1099 people, because then you owe reporting to the government for that. So Plus is going to allow you to do that. So, all right, so you figured out you want to get QuickBooks Online Plus. And this is the point where if you're not comfortable with accounting, just basic accounting processes, if you're still not comfortable with the things that you're going to be doing in QuickBooks Online, then it's really good to get a professional to help you, because you want to set up. I'm going to go through these slides, and there's three main things that you're going to want to set up, that you're going to want to do correctly in the beginning so that it doesn't mess you up at the end. So when you get your new QuickBooks file, you're going to open it and you're going to go to the accountant settings page. So this is the first page that you're going to go to. This is the first piece of information that you're going to fill out: your company name, your EIN number, address, things of that nature. And you can't see it on the slide, but there are other things in here that you need to fill out. You need to know how you want your sales to come out on the end. So you're going to be setting up your invoices. How are they going to look? Are you going to add a logo? Things like this. You need to set up your expenses. When you enter an expense, are they all going to be right away? Are they going to be net? And then same for your sales orders, or the orders that you put out there. Are you going to accept payments? Things like that. So that is all in this accountant settings part. The very next part you're going to go to is your chart of accounts. So the chart of accounts is the backbone of your bookkeeping system. When you first get into QuickBooks Online, it gives you a general chart of accounts. So everybody has utilities. It'll give you the basic things that almost every business has, but you need to customize this for your business. So if you're bringing in rent, then you're going to have different expenses than someone that has a catering business. And you want to make sure that you're putting in the categories to capture the information that you need, not only for your accountant at the end of the year, but for you throughout the year, so that you can track your expenses, know where your money's going, and know where you can, where you would need to make changes. And then the very next thing you want to do after that is attach all of your bank accounts, credit cards, so that they're all coming into one place. And like I said before, this is the great thing about QuickBooks Online. So it's going to connect to your bank, so that every transaction you do on your debit card, every check that you write, is going to come directly to your accounting system. You don't have to go out and find the receipt here or put in a number here. All of the numbers come in exactly as they are at your bank. So the accuracy, you can't really make a mistake. And same for the credit cards. Forgetting a receipt that you had last week, or you lost it, it's going to come through using the bank feeds. So after that, those are the main things you're going to do when you first set up your QuickBooks Online. After that, I have a list of 10 other functions that you want to be comfortable with. You want to know what they are, so that when you go to do some of these functions, you know what you're doing, and you're not making a mistake that's going to come out later. So depending on your industry, creating an item, How do I create a customer? What information am I going to put in about each customer? And to make sure you keep it uniform so that you can go back and if you want to do a mailing for your customers, if you want to create a call list for past customers, you want to make sure you're putting in all this information correctly so that it comes out on the other end. Creating and sending an invoice. QuickBooks Online is really great for sending invoices immediately. You can email them from your computer to your customer, and you can get paid the same way. Creating a vendor. What information are you keeping about your vendors? Are you entering the information correctly? And the biggest one is entering an expense. So in QuickBooks Online, if you haven't seen it before, you can write a check or you can enter an expense. And they're pretty much the same thing. It's money going out of your account. But it's really specific as to if you write a check, then make sure you use the check write feature. If you have an expense, you swiped your card and you bought something for your business, then that's an expense. And what happens is when you tell QuickBooks or you identify for QuickBooks what each of those transactions are, you're able to run reports on them. But if you mix them up, then your reports are going to start to come out not as accurate as they should be. Same for paying bills and reconciling. Reconciling is super important because you want your books to match your bank and you don't want it to be $1 off. And like I said, with QuickBooks Online, it's really, really hard to miss a transaction. But just in case, they have a reconcile function that you put in your last month's balance from the bank statement and you put in the ending balance from the bank statement, and it will help you identify every single transaction that was on that bank statement so that you come out to 0, which is what you want. And so that was the last slide, and I am open for questions if you have anything specific that you would like to answer. Yes. Oh, you have to go to the microphone.
So just for the online version, my question is, how secure is the servers that the data is stored on? Is it encrypted? Where is it located? That type of information from a security standpoint.
Right. And looking on the website, I know that it is encrypted. And what I like to explain to people is they get funny about, who has access to my bank information and that sort of thing. But what QuickBooks Online does is it pulls the information from your bank. So there is no one that can log in and actually get a hold of your bank account information. Like they can't move anything around in your bank. They can't do any of that. QuickBooks Online is just a mirror of what's happening inside your bank. And I know that the information, like I said, I know it's encrypted, and I know they put a lot of resources into protecting companies' data, but no one can get it. Even if they had your QuickBooks Online password, they still can't get to your bank, your actual bank information.
Is it configurable to be using servers at your own business versus the servers that come with the product?
Say that again?
My question is, depending on the size of a business, the business might have its own set of servers that it houses its own data that it might feel more secure with. So my question is, can QuickBooks be configured to work on the company's own servers versus its servers?
It cannot, not at this time. So to have a company file on your own server, you'd be looking at the desktop version. And like I was explaining before, there are some nuances with that. When it's on your own server, there, you can have corruption issues. things of that nature. But QuickBooks Online, no, it's all virtual. It's on their servers and it's in the cloud.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
So, can you tell us a little more about your company and how your company can help business owners that might not be ready to take this on themselves, or if they just want help setting up, and maybe to teach them a little more about how to run it themselves for their business?
Sure. The Savvy Admin is bookkeeping and virtual office management. So we help companies, maybe some of you in this room, that don't really grasp everything that needs to happen when they're starting their business on the financial side. So we can come in and we look at what you need specifically so that we can create a program that you can either follow yourself or that we can do for you in order to get all of your information into the system in a way that's going to make sense at the end of the year to your accountant, and in a way that you are able to analyze it throughout the year to make different business decisions. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes, they're right there in the back. Yep.
Thank you so much for
I
being
appreciate
here.
it.
Thank you all for coming. We hope to see you at the third and last workshop in the series on Planning to Succeed next Thursday. Same time, same place. Thank you all and have a good night.